everyone, and welcome back to Queen G's Recipes. And today we are going to be making Boston cream pie. Now we are going to be making our Boston cream pie with a delicious classic butter cake, and then we will be filling it with some pastry cream, some homemade pastry cream, and topping it with a gorgeous chocolate ganache. Now for the cake, the ingredients are here, and for the pastry cream, I will leave the link in the description box below for the pastry cream video that I recently uploaded, and as well I have an easy custard recipe on my channel. I'll leave the link as well. But if you want to make it with homemade vanilla pudding, you can do so as well, and I will leave that link in the description box as well for you guys, and you can choose whatever you prefer to make. Okay, so for starters, you want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's go over the ingredients we will be needing here today for our cake. Here we have some all-purpose flour, some salt, baking powder. Here we will need some milk, but you can also use half and half cream. Either or will work. Here we have just some regular white sugar, vanilla extract, some eggs, and some softened butter at room temperature. Important that it is soft. I also have a 9-inch cake pan here, which I have greased with some nonstick spray and lined with some parchment paper. You want to make sure that you are lining it with the parchment paper so it is easy to be removed once it's baked. So let's move on to making our cake. To our mixing bowl here, we are going to add in our sugar and softened butter. And we are going to whisk these two ingredients for a few minutes until we have a nice creamy texture. Okay, so my mixture mixed here on high speed for 4 minutes, and in between I went in with a spatula and made sure I scraped down the bottom and side so all ingredients are being well mixed together. And now we are ready to add in our eggs. What I'm going to do is add in my eggs one at a time while my machine is on. Then I will add in my vanilla extract, give it another quick little whisk, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so the first thing I did was I sifted my dry ingredients into a separate bowl here. So baking powder, salt, and flour. And now what we're going to do is we're going to alternate our wet and dry ingredients. So we're going to start off with the flour and end with the flour. Okay, so now we will bake our cake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for around 30 minutes, or when a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. Okay, so my cake baked for exactly 35 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to leave it here for about 15 minutes on my cooling rack, and then I'm going to carefully run a butter knife around the edges and invert it back onto my cooling rack and allow it to cool completely. Now you need to make sure it is cooled completely before you fill it and top it with your ganache. So once it has cooled completely, I'm going to cut it in half, and then I will meet you right back here as soon as we are ready to fill it with our pastry cream and top it with our ganache. Okay, so we are ready to assemble our Boston cream pie. I already have my cake sliced in half, and now what I have here is some pastry cream, which I made yesterday. Now, if you make it the day before, just make sure you give it a good whisk. As soon as you take it out of the fridge, it's always a good idea because it will be really firm. So that's what I did, and then I placed it in another bowl. And I will leave the link in the description box to that video. And I will also leave my easy custard recipe as well, and my vanilla pudding recipe if you want to use that instead of a custard. So those will all be in the description box with the recipe of this video. And now what I have here as well is some semi-sweet chocolate chips. And I also have some heavy cream here. Okay, and we will be warming up our heavy cream, and I'll show you what to do after. But for now, we are going to add our pastry cream and then the top layer of our cake, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that I have these little pieces of parchment paper. You can also use wax paper around my cake here, just so that when we pour our chocolate ganache, it doesn't make such a mess on our platter, and then we can remove them and it'll be much easier and cleaner in the end. So now what I'm going to do is warm up my heavy cream. Now you have two options. You can simmer it in a small saucepan, or you can place it in the microwave, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put it in for about 45 seconds to a minute. As soon as you see that there are bubbles around it, then you can stop warming it up, and then I will show you the next step. My heavy cream was in the microwave for 1 minute and 25 seconds. You need to make sure that it is hot, as if it was simmered on the stovetop. So that's that. Every microwave is different, but give or take 5-10 seconds, it should be nice and hot. So now what I'm going to do is pour my heavy cream over my chocolate chips. And we are going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, and then we will stir until we have a nice chocolate ganache. Okay, so after whisking my chocolate ganache, I just placed it in a measuring cup because it's just a little bit easier to pour it over the cake. And now very carefully and gently, you want to place this on top of your cake. And you do want it to drip a bit on the sides, so you can then use an offset spatula, or even a spoon is totally fine. Okay, and just kind of spread it to the sides. Okay, so this is perfect, and now just as it is, I'm going to place it in the fridge and allow our cake to set. Probably about, I'm gonna leave it in there for about an hour. And then I will meet you right back here as soon as it is ready to serve. It is simply perfection. It tastes exactly like a Boston cream donut in a cake form. The cake is wonderful, the pastry cream is perfection, and the semi-sweet chocolate ganache is just perfect. And that's about it. It's so easy to put together. Now, it is a good idea in between slicing to clean your knife with some paper towel and warm water, just to make sure that you have nice clean slices all the way through. And just a few tips when making your cake. Make sure that when adding in your eggs, that you whisk for 1 minute after the addition of each egg. It does need to add that air into the cake, so you want to make sure that you do that. And everything else is pretty straightforward. I will leave the link for the pastry cream as mentioned before. You will see everything in the description box. And for this classic butter cake, if you need any further details as to make it perfect, I do have a video just for a classic butter cake recipe, and I'll leave that link as well in the video if you want to watch it step by step. So that's that. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a nice big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload a new and delicious recipe. Share the recipe with your family and friends, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. The links will be in the description box below as well. And that's about it. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye everyone.